So I just wanted to do a quick review of a very rare and highly sought after pen. This is the Dyson Biro. And as you could probably tell from the logo, that's Dyson, D-Y-S-O-N, just like the vacuum company. So Dyson is known for their vacuums, but I guess technically they would call themselves an engineering company. And one of the things they engineered is this really nice retractable ballpoint pen. They're very rare here in the US, not quite so rare other places as I understand it, but it took me a while to get my hands on this. It's going to be a little bit hard to film just because of the material, the stainless steel material, but we'll just go for it. So first of all, this pen comes in this like cool plastic tube, and it has aluminum pieces on the end, or metal pieces on the end, at least with O-rings, keeping everything together. So a really nice presentation. It says Dyson on it. Again, very cool. No instructions, nothing like that. The pen itself is quite striking in really sort of a minimalist type of way. It's machined, I believe, out of stainless steel, and it essentially has a three-piece design. You have the body, which is one piece with no seams or anything like that. Very limited logos and all. It just says designed by Dyson there, and that's it for this main piece, which is the outer sleeve. There is an inner piece here which goes inside that sleeve, and it has the clip built into it. It's a little bit hard to tell, but it's all one piece, and that clip is just machined right out of that. It's really nice work. And the clip presses down, and that engages the pen mechanism. The last piece, the third piece, is this little inner piece which holds the cartridge in place. So you see that holds there, and here we have a little hard to get out, a D1 cartridge. So a really small metal cartridge. It includes a cartridge from a company called, it's really hard to make out, but it's called, let me see, Premec, P-R-E-M-E-C. It's a Swiss D1. And you could replace this D1 very easily if you want something that writes differently or better or a different color or whatever. And so as for how the pen works, this just slides in and that locks that D1 refill in there. To push the cartridge or the ink back out, you just push on the end here, or you push on the clip. That's it. So the whole mechanism looks like this. You push it down, you do your writing. I refill a shot. Yeah, there you go. Dyson. Again, that's just a standard D1. And when you're done, you pull this up. Pushing it will not work. You can't push it a second time. You have to pull it. The interesting thing is when you push it out, so when you push it down, it extends this piece. But when you write, regardless of how hard you push as you're writing, within reason, it will not push this up and push the ink back into the body. So somehow the mechanism between the lower and the top is disconnected. So when you pull this up, it does pull the ink back in, but pushing the ink or pushing the refill will not get the top to extend like that. So some very thoughtful design. I'm sure if you were to take it apart, it's not insanely sophisticated, but it does work very well. As for the pen, again, it's very simple, very minimalist, but really nicely done. This was a lot of machining work, which is why these pens are so expensive. As far as I know, there's no retail price for the pen. I think these were like given away, or they were, promotional items. I don't know if Dyson ever actually sold them. And now they're really pretty expensive on the aftermarket, but you're probably gonna have to buy it from overseas. I wanted to talk a little bit about the design because in the past I've reviewed the Lamy Unic, that's the UNIC pen, and I believe the two are somewhat related just from a design aesthetic. The Lamy Unic has a telescoping end, whereas this one doesn't have a true telescoping end. What happens is it resembles a telescope, whereas it's a telescoping action, whereas this thicker piece is surrounds a thinner one, and that surrounds the cartridge. And there's no movement between the two. It's just the little one extends out of the big one, but it is reminiscent of the design of the Lamy Unic. And that's a really iconic design and has some more ornate features to it, where this was in hyper simple and more, I would say more modern than that really. I think that design is from the early 80s, but it's quite famous and quite cool. Anyway, definitely check out my video of that. It's the Lamy, Lamy, and then the pen is called the Unic, UNIC. As for the Dyson Biro, I'm very impressed with this. It is a really cool piece, and you know, as you could probably tell from my many Dyson videos, I'm a fan of the company. As for the pen itself, I think it's very nice, but it is on the long side. Here's it next to a Sharpie. It has a sort of like, it's not long in that like an absolute sense, but it's like long and skinny. Here's it next to an Energel. And it's just that sort of skinny nature to it, and the fact that there's no grip or anything here makes it more of a design piece and more of a statement piece than it is something that's particularly practical. I'm also concerned about the clip. Again, the clip being built into one piece is very beautiful, but if you were to bend this clip, then you're essentially ruining the pen, which is quite annoying given how expensive it is. The mechanism is really nice and has a beautiful engagement. I am a little concerned about what happens after you pop it out like that a few hundred times, because it is a really forceful action. It doesn't seem like anything is really backstopping that, so it seems like it might throw off the design or just become a little bit destructive or, you know, deleterious to the pen. Lastly, it uses that D1 cartridge, which most D1 cartridges are terrible. I have found some good ones, and I did a video on that, so I don't see that as a major problem. But usually with these pens, you want to be able to upgrade the ink to a gel or something like that, whereas this one, you're going to be using a D1 regardless. Lastly, there is a little bit of rub sometimes. If you don't push this down exactly right, you could feel a little bit of rubbing, or sometimes if you twist it, like here. It's pretty minor, and I believe it would go away over time, but it's worth noting. Just because this is a pure design item, and it's really beautiful, but I'm not sure that it's usually practical. It's more of a collector's item than anything else. So I'm super glad Dyson made this. I think more companies should show off their design chops, and if it's a pen that does it, that's cool. If they go ahead and do it with something else that's special and limited edition, then that's fine too. But anyway, that's the Dyson Biro pen. Thanks for watching.